Yes, Chairman. First of all, let me say that I found the first statements of the Union on the 2nd and the 9th of June, at least in one aspect, inappropriate. Mr. Füle was more outspoken when he went to Turkey, but in both statements of the 2nd and the 9th, not only you expressed your concern, but more important, you asked, and I quote now, I have both here, restraint on all sides. So could you please explain what sort of restraint you expected from the peaceful demonstrators on Taksim Square? Peaceful demonstrators confronted with brutal police forces, and also peaceful demonstrators facing tear gas, water cannons and rubber bullets. So I was surprised, Mr. Chairman, and not, let's be honest, in fact disappointed, that the Union has again chosen to be ambivalent in the face of what is a clear violation of human rights by a state for the moment in Turkey. A state, by the way, that is a candidate for accession to the European Union. Because what is happening, of what had happened in Turkey, is a clear violation of human rights. And we all know that it is not an isolated case. In Turkey, we have seen over the last years a growing deterioration of the fundamentals of democracy. And look at the media, for example. Hannah Swoboda has already given this as an example. Turkey is today, I call it, Mr. Swoboda, the biggest prison for journalists in the world. According to Reporters Without Borders, it is ranked 154th, and that's just 3 places above the last dictatorship in Europe, that is Belarus. That is what is happening today in Turkey. So it is what, in my opinion, and I didn't hear that from the European Union in their message, what is happening in Turkey is a constant abuse by an excessive state. I call it a tyranny of a majority, as John Stuart Mill named it, a system in which decisions taken by a majority are always more important than the rights of minorities, always more important than the rights of individual people. And it's a trend going beyond Turkey. Look to Russia, Mr. Putin. I should even say to Hungary, Mr. Orban. Now we are talking about Turkey and Erdogan. Let me be clear, I'm not questioning, and I don't ask you to question the democratic mandate of the elected government of Turkey. What I'm questioning and what I'm asking you is to stand up against a deterioration of a democracy that is becoming more and more what I call a democratura. And my group, and that's my final word, Mr. President, before you use your hammer, my group is a strong supporter of a European choice for Turkey. But let me be clear, not a Turkey that turns its back to the European principles and the European values.